All right, guys, couple changes. First is an injured reserve. Player has to be officially on the NFL's injured reserve list to be placed on your injured reserve spot. We used to give you credit for half of the salary of whatever player you put on the injured reserve, but we decided to change that mainly because of the new NFL rule that came out yesterday. There's a 8-week injured reserve list that now teams are allowed to use for one of their players, which means someone who's designated for injured reserve can actually come back and play that season. Previously, that never happened. As soon as the team designated a player to injured reserve, he was out for the rest of the fantasy season. So, I mean, you could see the value of an IR spot in a dynasty league like this. One of your star players goes down, you want to keep him, for next year. Obviously, you've got him under contract. But the way we're going to work this now is just like the NFL works it. If somebody's marked on IR, you can put him on the IR list. If he comes back and plays week 9, whatever, you can bring him back. You can reactivate him if you've got the roster space. That being said, we're not going to give any salary cap credit. So you'll just be paying your player on IR whatever you've assigned him to pay him his salary. Keep in mind, you also have to account for his contract years too. You don't get any credits for that. So, but that didn't change. The only thing that changed was the salary cap credit. You don't receive any credit now. Next couple things I want to talk about is speaking of contract years. There's a little hint about the contract years. Okay, you have up to 75. Okay, but if you're moving players to IR and you're going to pick somebody else up, you got to have some years available, especially if you want to give your new player multiple years. So I'm probably going to stick to like 68, 67, 69, I don't know, years. Give myself some leeway so that I can sign some guys. You never know who's going to come out of nowhere, and I want to be able to sign them longer term if need be. So don't back yourself into the corner there. Otherwise, you wouldn't even need the IR. If you assign all the way up to 75, what's the point of putting someone on IR, because you won't have years left to pick up anybody new. All right. Speaking of picking up somebody new, right now everything's locked. So what's going to happen is, instead of opening up a blind bid or a first come first serve, I decided to just leave it go all the way until the first free agency period. Okay. We'll talk later about the off-season free agency stuff. That's really fun. But for now, the in-season free agency stuff, it didn't change. Nothing changed. We've got a blind bid period and we've got a first come first serve period. What did change slightly from before, and I already changed it. So what you see here is the real deal. So what'll happen is, on Thursday's game, which there's one every week now, kickoff, you start the blind bid period. All right, that blind bid period will go all the way for almost 6 days until Wednesday, the next Wednesday. It goes all the way through all the Sunday, Monday games until Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. At that point, whatever blind bids were out there get processed, and at that same time, a first come first serve period begins, and that basically means minimum salary. Okay, so anybody you pick up first come first serve, you're automatically going to be minimum salary. Okay, and that period will go all the way up until the Thursday at 8:20. Now, for week 1, this coming Wednesday is when the game starts at 8:30. So you'll be able to start your blind bids at 8:30. If you go to the site here and look down here on the left-hand side, you'll see a calendar link. You hit the calendar link, it'll bring you to the current day. Advance ahead to the next month, and you'll see this Wednesday the blind bidding starts at 8:30 p.m. And that goes all the way until the next Wednesday at 5 p.m. They get processed. All right, everything that happened goes. And at the same time, whoever wasn't picked up goes on a first come first serve for, what's this, 27 and a half hours or whatever it is, until the next Thursday 8:20 game. Now that's going to go all the way up through week 12. Okay, we're going to shut down waivers after the week 12 games. So basically, at the start of week 13's kickoff will be the 8:19 p.m. before week 13's kickoff will be the last time to pick up anybody. All right. When you pick somebody up, you can assign them contract years, because you're only picking them up if you're blind bidding on their first year's salary, and if you're first come first serve picking them up, then you get them for minimum salary. You have 24 hours to tell me, how long you want your player for. All right, 24 hours from when you win the bid, which would be a Wednesday at 5 p.m., or when you pick them up in that free agency period. How you do that is this. I'll have a link in the email I'm sending you right here. It's called the Signed Players Contract Year Form, or whatever that says. All right, click that. It's our setup here. You pick your team. You know the owner. Tell me the player's name, position, his salary, and this is the important one: contract years. This comes through into a spreadsheet with a timestamp, so everybody can see that you've recorded this contract year assignment within 24 hours of your acquisition. All right, so that's how you'll do that. Keep this handy. I'll also post a message board. I'll post this link to this in the message board as well. If for some reason you're having trouble with Google Docs, whatever, just post the contract years in the message board. This makes it a lot easier to keep track of. Anyway, so trades are the next thing I wanted to talk about here. Actually, the trade deadline. Trade deadline is already in there. That's not going to change. I believe it's after week 10. If it's not after week 10, I'll change it. Make sure it's after week 10. So no trades after week 10. Yeah, the last couple things here is trades. I changed the trade policy. Instead of the commissioners approving it, I want everybody to vote on all trades. If you think real hard, there's some situations where, you know, somebody who's in cap room can dump a really good player to somebody who's in the playoffs for a draft pick. And that draft pick isn't going to be a good draft pick because the guy gave it up as in the playoffs. It's going to be 9, 10, 11, or 12. You may think that, like me, that a star player is not necessarily worth a 9th through 12th pick in a rookie draft. Whatever the case may be, you're going to vote. Everyone's going to vote. Mandatory votes. You can't submit your weekly lineup till you voted. You may not have to vote if 7 people vote before you and vote to let the trade go through. As soon as the votes hit 7 yays, it'll let the trade go through, or 7 nays, the trade will be nullified. So you may not have to vote if that's the case, but if it's a close race, I think you guys will want to vote anyway. If for some reason we go 6-6, the 3 commissioners will re-vote. We'll just get together via email or something to figure out what we'll do. Break the tie. Again, we have trade deadline, all right, through week 10. So you guys could be working trades now if you want. What's the last thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, just how the playoffs are going to work. Just to say now, here and now, what's going on with them. We are going to just have division winners. All right. 4 teams, top 2 from each division will make the playoffs. Week 15 will be the division championship games. And the championship game will include 1 team from the Atlantic, 1 team from the Pacific. The losers of those division championship games will go ahead and play the 3rd place game. All right, I think that covers it.